to be surprised anymore if I'm talking to a really intelligent business owner, a really intelligent sales rep, sales manager, somebody who's been around CRMs a lot. And at first I was surprised, but I no longer expect this. They are just now, sometimes they're just like, wait, you can do that? I'm like, where the hell have you been? Like, what CRMs have you been using?
And he's coming in.
There we go. Let's go. We already have Mr. Brent Attaway here. There he is. Adam Farver.
Hey, welcome, guys.
Thanks for making it. Welcome to the Solar Pulse podcast with Josh and Joe. We have amazing guests today. One day I was like, you know what? It would be really cool to do an episode with the smartest people I know when it comes to CRMs and software. So I said, you know what? Brent Attaway with CRMX and Adam Farver with RDT. So that's why you guys are here. So I appreciate you guys making the time, man.
Awesome.
Smartest people. I'm gonna just run with that. The smartest people.
Do you guys know? Well, Brent is one of my really good friends, close friends, and obviously you know Josh King. And then Adam, I don't know if you've ever met Josh King before. Have you guys ever met?
Just online briefly. I think same thing with you, Brent.
Yeah.
Good to meet you, Adam.
All right. So this is kind of a new conversation. Some of us go for it.
I think I've met Brent once or twice. I'm not sure though. It looks sort of familiar.
Only in your drunken state, which is just fine with me.
That's not. That's cigar talk sessions and SolarCon actually. It's true.
I love it.
Nice.
Well, I'm glad you guys finally meet each other. There's a reason why I like to connect certain people. There's an energy here. You guys really know your shit when it comes to this kind of stuff. And Josh King is one of those CRM experts himself. So we have three of the smartest people in the industry, in my opinion, on this episode. So I'm gonna let you guys do a lot of the talking. So Josh, I'll let you kick it off, bro.
Well, you do the 5 words or less then, and then I'll do the heavy lifting for the tech talk. Over that.
All right. So we do like a fun little segment before we get started. We want to get to know you guys, but we don't want to take too much of your time with this. So we call the segment 5 words or less. That's why you see words popping up there. And then what we do is get to know you real quick. Sometimes, guests go past 5 words. We let it slide a little bit, but your goal is to think of 5 good words that's going to describe what I'm going to ask you, okay? Brent Attaway, you're going first. 5 words or less, my friend. Describe your personality.
Optimistic, sexy beast.
3 words.
He needs 3.
All right, Adam, can you beat that?
I've got
5 words.
I'll go with powerful, uplifting, and impactful.
There we go.
Got you, Brent. All right, so we'll go with the next one here, Brent. I know you do multiple things besides solar, but if you weren't in solar or home improvements, what would you be doing? Or CRM software, what would you be doing?
Business-wise or anything? What would I be doing?
Anything. Literally, you just wake up, you could do anything you want.
I would be hanging out with my sons and my wife at Universal Studios or snowboarding. One of those for right now. That's the first thing that comes to my head.
Snowboarding's good.
All right.
That was more than 5 words, but Universal Studios, snowboarding.
Snow's not looking too good. I'm in Vancouver, and Whistler is just up the road, and it's like nothing going on there. And they're charging $300 day passes, and you can't even bloody ski down a hill. It's wild.
Damn.
That is wild.
All right, Adam. If you weren't, I know if you're in CRM software, what would you be doing right now if you weren't in the field you're in?
I would probably be surfing.
You're all right. Another surfer, huh?
But skiing, snowboarding, it's high up the list too. I just I haven't lived in a place where I'm out of flip flops in a few years, so it's been a long time. Currently, I'm living in Uberlândia, Brazil. So, but all my stuff is in Hawaii. and including my board. So they've been dry for too long, but we'll get back there.
You never let anyone tell you that you can't wear flip-flops in every single country year long. I'm in Canada right now wearing flip-flops. People yell at me all the time. I am not breaking that. Who the hell needs to wear anything else, man? It's the perfect footwear.
I don't know about that because I grew up in upstate New York, and there's several months I would not want to be in flip-flops there.
Foot
Yeah,
of
that
snow,
means that
I'll wear
you don't wear
flip-flops.
socks ever. You don't ever wear socks? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, only when I play soccer. So
There you
All right,
True.
Arrow, keep it going
That's
here.
what means socks.
Did you answer? You ready with Adam, right? So we're back to Brent. Are you ready, Mr. Attaway?
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. So
I am
who
ready.
is your biggest influence in your career?
Who? There's probably 3 people. But
5
if I
words
have
done.
to
All right,
choose
Adam,
one,
your turn.
3 people. Frank Kern,
I knew that was coming.
Dave Crenshaw. There's 4 words.
There you go. And for you, Adam, who's your biggest influence in your career?
I'm probably going to go with Elon Musk for this one.
Okay, I have to ask. I usually don't ask, but tell me why. Why Elon Musk for you, bro?
Why is this amount of impact that he's creating, and the cool stuff that he's creating? I've been in the Tesla factory in Fremont there, and it's amazing. And he's done a lot more than that, but that's the kind of legacy I want to live on this planet too. Is leaving a big impact.
Love it. All right, I only got a couple more, and then we'll get right into the juicy stuff. I just want to get you guys to get to know you guys a little bit better here. Okay, so Brent, why are you in the industry you're in? Why you build your own CRM? Why are you in software and marketing and follow up? Why'd you choose that?
I was 5 words. My wife. It started there.
Okay. 2 words? My wife?
My wife. It started there. Yep, that's 5 words.
There you go. I got it.
If you want to know more later, you could ask.
I think I will. Hey, Adam, what do you think? Why are you in the field you're in, man?
I was in solar first, from a young kid. I was in solar, but I don't know how we break that down into how about living off the grid in 10th grade. 6 words.
There you go. All right, guys. Enough of this one. Last one for you guys. Brent, what is your ultimate career goal?
Absolute independence from running business. I'm trying
There
to
you
keep it to
go.
5 words, y'all.
That's perfect. Good, efficient way of using the words, Brent. All right, Adam, your ultimate career goal, 5 words or less. Brent's killing with the words, though.
Let's go. Leave the world a better place than when I got here. It's
bonus words.
We'll give him a few
counts.
extra.
I can't make the 5 words, man. You're talking to an engineer here.
So just real quickly before we get into the juicy stuff, I want maybe the audience doesn't know you guys and doesn't know anything about you, what you came from, and who you are. So Brent, just really quick, give us like a 30 seconds to a minute synopsis of who you are and why, how you got to where you are now.
This is what we just did, Joe. We did it in 5 words.
Yeah, we didn't do it. I want people to know where you came from.
Yeah, we know the person. Now we want to know what the I don't know what the actions are.
The true self
for the audience,
that you get to know from me is complete sarcasm.
Yes.
To the point to where I get in trouble and it's not good, and some of it's not healthy.
As long
But
as you know it ahead of time, it's all good. That's the best part.
yeah,
Then it becomes fun.
yeah, to the point to where I think that comes from a healthy dose of I do not take myself seriously. I don't think I'm above anyone else. Um, and a lot of times I will be sarcastic, and this is good to know about me, even in marketing and writing and running things. Um, I'll be sarcastic just to break barriers, just to let people know that they're not anything either. Like if I run into people who think they're above anything, I'm just like, you got to be shitting me. I don't care if, which I love Elon Musk too, Adam, but I don't care about Elon Musk. I don't care what he's done. I don't care. And I don't
Feel
mean
you
I
on
don't
that.
care for him. I don't care for him. And I know you agree because I can see it in your face when you're saying it. I think we would agree on a lot of things if you're an engineer too. I'm not an engineer. My brain had to learn to think like you. But like the I just that's a lot of my core comes from that, and that will say a lot more going forward, because ultimately I'm like, you know what? Let's get through life and live it like today could be our last. I don't mean go party and abuse anything and hurt anybody. I just mean live your best life that you know how. It may not even be that great, but live it how it might be your last. Hopefully, it's not. And then my hope is, because I'm also a father and a husband, my hope is that I leave something behind for them, some kind of what I would call a legacy, but I mean something good and valuable left behind for them. And the bonus would be if I left it behind for others as well. But that's my minimum standard. I gotta like at least leave my boys and my wife, if I had to, with okay, I'm glad that he was in our life. And I can't do that. I don't care who else I help. I gotta help them first. So that's really where I come from. And then career is everything. When I said my wife, I don't mean I do it for my why, although that's true too. My wife, I mean, I got into internet marketing. I had a brick and mortar sign company that I bought when I was 24. I've always been an entrepreneur. I was in college, and the short version of this, I'm in college. I've already had a painting and window cleaning business just to make ends meet slash make money, and not without having to have a job. Not that I was against a job, it just never equaled freedom for me to do things on the side. So I was like, there's no way I can be there exactly these hours, so I got to do it on my own, right? And so I always was doing different things on the side. Learned how to paint, learned how just different, let's just call it home services, construction, anything like that, where I was independent, handyman type stuff, but mostly painting and window cleaning. That got me through my first, all the way till I was 20, 21. I went on a mission. I grew up Mormon. I won't even go into that, but like just meaning like I had to go knock doors for Jesus is always what I say. And so I learned some things there too. And that was in Kansas City, like Bible Belt. So people are mean as shit. Christians are mean, man. I don't mean all Christians, I mean, but there are some that are mean. So there's that. And all of that led up to, I say, I'm going to buy a sign company. That sign company is a brick and mortar company in the home, like in Provo, Utah. It's called Signs by Tomorrow. It's a franchise, like Signorama, Fast Signs, things like that. We did vehicle wraps, things, just to give you a picture. I'm running that. It's the first time I've actually really enjoyed something, and I was doing that was all I did it from 2024 to 2000 or 24. Wow, to 04 to 09. So, crash. People cut their budgets real fast in advertising and signage and stuff like that. Tried to stay afloat, couldn't. The option I took, I shouldn't say my only option, it felt like my only option at the time, was bankruptcy. So I'm 29, bankrupt, and sucked. It sucked. Let's just say that. So I was 28, almost 29. And from there, Christy had been sitting down with her clients, and she's fitness nutrition freak, like freak good. She's really good. It's just like her second language. It's so easy for her to talk nutrition and macros and weight loss, and she's always been in shape. She's probably gained like 13 pounds when she's pregnant. Like she just it was the baby plus 2 pounds of fat, and it was just, she's just really, really good. Nothing sways her from feeling good in her body. That's one of the highest values she has, is her body, which is awesome. She's teaching clients this and teaching them how to do nutrition plans and meal plans. And I'm sitting there looking at it and I'm bored because I just went out of business. And I'm thinking that fast forward, it led to, I'm looking at kind of not I call it an engineering mind, but reverse engineering mind. I'm like, well, how can we do that at scale? What are you giving them? Meal plans? And are they getting all the same meal plans? Yeah, pretty much. When do you change them? Only when they have an allergy or this. And do they change this, like even the macros and stuff? Not typically. They're all looking to lose weight. I'm like, oh. So I'm like, how can we make that a one-stop like program for anybody, and then give them teach them how to do their adjustments on their own, and make it a $150 program. So our first info product was born. We did it out of house parties, like an MLM does, but not an MLM. So little house parties. And so lo and behold, referrals work, guys. So that's what happened there. We built that up, and so that went from, in under 2 years, it was like a $500,000 company selling $150 programs. It was insane. And so, and all in like this little Utah County, right where you used to live, Joe, right behind Utah County. Joe was just outside of Utah County, pretty much there. And then it went into Salt Lake County, and people bought out of state and it became popular, but mostly still Utah. And the point is that's where it all started, because Christy was doing that. I was trying to figure something out, and I learned. And then because of that, I had to learn Infusionsoft, which, go look up Infusionsoft. It's now called Keep. Infusionsoft's been around since like 2001. It's the first drag and drop automated builder before Go High Levels and all the other things that are out here. Go High Level is like a baby in the game, although I like Go High Level. So like the point is that's where it started. I was just happened to be the guy in charge of that. Then I started studying Frank Kern, and that led me to Dan Kennedy, because he would say, my mentor, I studied Dan Kennedy, and then started learning. And I started writing books in like for my wife, really, in her voice. But I wrote all the emails, did all the drip sequences. I just had to learn it all. I was the only person doing it while she fulfilled it all. Like, she was the face, right? So I was the guy behind the screen. She's the face. And that's how it went. That got sold to Zango, which was like $1 billion MLM. They needed a program to plug in. And that's the first time I realized systems matter. When a company buys you for your system, then there's value there. They weren't buying it for our audience. They had a way larger audience than us. They bought it for the system. And then from there, what happened? Went all the way into consulting, had a funnel agency, did all this marketing funnel-y stuff before ClickFunnels made it popular to do funnels. And then, full circle, Bennett, my brother, invites me to help him with some marketing stuff. He's 13 years younger than me because he's out knocking doors for solar. And here we are. We sold that company, and we went in about 18 months. And then I came full circle back into marketing, consulting / now I've launched CRMX. Voila, there's the story in 15 years or 20 years, I guess. Shit, yeah, that's a lot of years. Questions? I'm just playing with you.
Throw your questions in the chat for Brent, people. I'm sure there's a ton there. I got a few pieces. I got sell your product at house parties. I'm using that one next. I don't know. I wonder if I could sell Sonivo at house parties. I don't know if my
dude, it works so good because the audience is female, and man, if you want to get people to just buy stuff for no reason at all, get a bunch of women in a room and be like, hey, check this out. And they just say, oh, I want one. And they don't even know what they're saying yes to. And then that's like guys at wherever you want to call it, at a game or at a bar or at some stupid guy place or the beach, in your flip-flops, Adam. Like it's wherever you're at and we're all chilling. We're like, oh, let me check that out. It's like that, but take that. And we would all say, I need to go sign up for that software. That's how it is with weight loss and women.
Right.
Like they're like, ooh, I'll try that out. It's so easy. So don't try it with software.
All right. Fair enough on that. Well, okay. That's a great detail there. I think Joe's having issues with the old internet. But Adam, same question. Let me boil down Joe's question to, I like where Brent took that. Where have you been? Where are you now? And where are you going?
Awesome. Yeah, so I kind of hinted on this before. My solar journey started in 10th grade. I ended up living off the grid and on like 660-watt panels. So imagine that we had enough power for a few lights at night. We had no like plumbed water in the house. We had a natural fed spring. It was extremely rustic. We had
Wow.
enough power for a few lights at night and a DC refrigerator. Taking a shower before high school meant like, and this was only 1 year, 10th grade, meant like heating up this huge pot of water, putting it on a wood stove. We're living in upstate New York, and pouring it into this like shower contraption. But what that set in me, like after that year, I moved into a house that was connected into the grid, and we don't realize this crazy buzzing, like what's normal that we tune out, that our subconscious kind of takes care of. And so it just made a big impact on me. Finished high school, went to 4 years of engineering school, got out in 2004, and went to work for a small design build company in upstate New York doing solar for like very like almost minimum wage. But I was like, I want to be in solar. I don't care. This is what I want to do. The guy who started that company pioneered the first grid tied solar system in upstate New York, like fought the NICEAG, which was the energy company there, to get that connected. And then, so I installed my first solar systems and worked on the first designs. Most of my career has been on the engineering side of the industry. From there, I went into factory automation and worked at Solyndra. If you've heard the names, like we had a huge grant from the DOE. I was in charge of the team designing one of the front end processing tools. So at that time, we could process that when I say it's a machine, it's the size of a tractor trailer. We had 32 axes of motion, fully automated, and could process out 2,000 solar tubes an hour. And so I've always liked learning things from a young age. Like the book How Things Work is one that really intrigued me. And I've had that curiosity. I've worked all kinds of different jobs. Went down that engineering, and I think worked for 4 different startups. I worked for GlassPoint for 6 years before I got into this entrepreneurial venture. And there we were designing huge industrial solar systems. Right now, about like 60% of all the world's CO2 offset from industrial solar comes from parts I designed, which is pretty neat. And so I also, like Brent, I've got a family, I've got 4 kids, big impact, and, just kept working at startups that, were not failing and really wanted to have things in my control. 2018, I started a consulting business, and one of those companies was like, hey, I think you'd be perfect to run our lead gen, and we're going to pay for you to go through all this training, and started generating leads for them. I'd already been dabbling in ClickFunnels and just like playing around with online stuff, and just quickly realized we're not looking for leads, we're looking for appointments, right? And realizing that there was vastly different results with different companies I was generating leads for. And so that's what led into, I started building on Go High Level, which I think a lot of people are familiar with, very early on in 2019. Met Sean and Alex, kind of saw their vision for what they were building there. And so our software is built on top of Go High Level. And, my philosophy there is like anywhere that we can optimize and build a system, as Brent was talking about, and turn 2-3 clicks into one, copy and paste information into none, that's going to build efficiency. That's going to save us time. And that's the most valuable resource we all have. Like, if you're tuning in and watching this right now, thanks for investing some of your time in, Josh's show here. It's, that's the most valuable resource. Hopefully you get some insights out of this, right? And so if we can build efficiency into the software, and the software can help us, I mean, solar is really simple, right? Conversations, utility bills, presentations, and contracts signed, right? If you know those 4 KPIs and you're in the solar sales game, then you're going to be successful, right? Because if you focus on that first KPI, automation and AI has been extremely fun because it's exponentially can save us time, right? We turn like work that used to take weeks now takes hours or minutes, right? Or you just handle the appointments, right? And so, um, yeah, so we've been building and innovating and growing the CRM for the last 4 years. We're in interesting waters now as we head into the new year with all the TCPA and FCC changes and things like that. So, and I don't know. I think my internet's clear, but it seems like we're losing some people on here.
It's all good.
You guys hearing me right now?
I can hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear.
You just can't see me.
Just can't see the record. Everyone watching the recording will be able to see you, but right now we're blind. We can't see your beautiful face.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you guys. You got to just hear my voice. It's okay. I got a face for the radio, so it makes perfect sense. Anyway, for you guys, I was going to ask you, Adam. Because, you're setting your insights. How about some insights on what should people do? What should reps do out there if they're going to start their own? They want to keep track of their data and their appointments, and should they just go ahead and get a template that's ready to go, or should they just make sure it's personalized for them and start from scratch? What do you think is a better way to go? Start from scratch or have like a template? And Josh had a question about that similar to. I'll ask you after.
I think you find a system that's working and producing results, and you plug into that system and you add your flavor to whatever that base system is, your personality, and you combine that with whatever system was working to produce even better results potentially.
Yeah, Joe put that question up, and coincidentally, I just watched Jeff Bezos' Y Combinator speech when they launched AWS. Adam, I'm not sure if you ever watched that, but his whole thesis during that talk was he gave an example of late 1800s or early 1900s. This brewery didn't have a connection to the grid, and so they built, instead of getting someone else to come in and hook them up, they built their own bloody grid and generators. A massive project.
I'm sure.
But his sort of thing was that didn't make the beer taste better.
Yeah.
Right. And so his whole pitch, his whole idea when they launched AWS, for those that don't know, Amazon, their biggest thing is not selling socks on Amazon. It's their infrastructure that they provide people, servers and computation services, cloud services.
Yeah.
And so when they launched that, it's like, hey man, you have a startup, you want to make your product here really, really cool. Going out and getting servers and building infrastructure is insanely expensive, and it's not going to make your product any better. Yeah. And so Joe put this question that he asked, like, should I build it all out myself, or should I just use a badass piece of software that already exists that's going to do it? I think the question that Jeff Bezos would say is, would you building out your own thing make your product better? And in fact, would you even be able to build out something that's better than what's currently on the market? All right. So I think that's a really good argument for, am I focusing my energy on making my product better? So if I'm a sales guy, is my pitch better? Is my customer acquisition? Is that being built better by creating my own CRM and infrastructure from scratch? Probably not in a majority of cases.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of things. Like, man, everyone thinks they're a CRM builder these days. And how many people now are saying, sign up to my thing for X dollars a month, automate all your stuff, and it's literally go high level and like one automation. You know what I mean? It's like zero work put into it, and all they see is dollar signs. So I think there's you got to be smart with it, but yeah.
There's levels to the game, I think, and a truly good system doesn't get built overnight. Right? It gets built by iterating and trying things. And, even if it's a simple follow-up sequence, that doesn't get built the first time you write the follow-up sequence. That gets built when you implement the follow-up sequence and you look at, okay, what's the response rate to this message? Oh, where are they dropping off, right? I mean, Brent, you probably have huge insights into that with all the funnels because it's the same thing. The only reason I've been successful on running the ads is I know what numbers to look like, right? And look for, right? And it's like, okay, because I might have the like craziest idea and I might think it will work, and someone has, an idea that I think is like, oh, there's no way that would work. The market will tell you, right? It doesn't cost a lot of money to test an idea, right? But it costs a lot of money to not know what numbers to look at to keep going, like if you know what numbers to look at, okay, you try something, you spend $40 and you shut it off, right? If you don't know what you're looking at, you might spend $2,000 and you're like, why isn't this working?
Yeah. I got a $1 CPL, but the ad only has 100 impressions. Well, I guess I'll just increase the budget.
Yeah. I had. Oh, this reminds me, Adam. The first time I listened to Frank Kern, actually, since I'll kind of hit home on this. And by the way, Frank Kern and I are not, by all means, we're not like just like good bros or anything. I don't mean to frame that at all. We've worked together on stuff, but I'm saying I look up to him as I learned a lot from him. Okay. At first by just implementing his courses. The first thing I've ever heard from him, what was that? I was listening to somebody who said Tony Robbins. This is back in 2008. Tony Robbins was running seminars, and at that time, I'm sure he thought he was big. Well, it's like 10 times bigger now. It's a lot larger of what he does, right? And whether you like Tony Robbins, I don't care. It's not about that. But I'm listening to his stuff and I'm getting into it. I like how he presents stuff. He's one of the first guys I saw on video where like he's actually using video marketing. Guys, video marketing was a new hit thing at one point, right? Like everyone listening, video marketing was like we didn't even have the bandwidth on the internet to stream stuff, so you couldn't do video marketing. Here we are doing lives, but like the key here is I'm sitting there listening to Tony, and he says this guy Frank Kern, and then Tony releases this program again on DVD, and he sends me these DVDs once a month, and one of them was Frank Kern, and it's called The New Money Masters, not Money Masters, and you can go look this up. And Frank's on there, and he has his surfer hair and his beard, and not far from what Josh looks like right now, and then and then he talks about something so simple in his dog training. I think he got one of the first things he got a hit on, like worked what you're talking about, just like figure it out with marketing and split testing and listening to the market. This dog training thing, he's not a dog trainer.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know anything about it. He's just trying to find an audience and give them an offer. And Tony, in the interview, it's just an interview, this series of the New Money Masters. Tony's really good at interviewing. It's one of his magic powers, I would call it. He's interviewing him and he says, so what is marketing to you? Like, how would you explain the power of marketing? He goes, marketing is, and he probably learned this somewhere else, but in Frank's words, he said, marketing is learning what your audience wants or learning what somebody wants, asking them what they want, and then figuring out how to give it to them. And that is all. And so you sit there and listen to a market. You think you know what they want based off of what they're telling you, because sometimes that's not even what they want. They could tell you in a survey, here's what I want, and then you give it to them and they don't take it. So something can be off there. But like the point is you're constantly listening to the market and then trying to give it back to them, and then when you hit it big, you found a way that they loved receiving it that way. They were like, they'll give you money for it. So it just makes me think when we're running ads, or when you're running ads, I don't run ads, Adam. When you're running ads, it's the same thing over and over. And then you run an ad to a landing page, and that landing page damn well better correspond with the ad, right? And it should, they call that ad set. It needs to go, and that person needs to receive it how you hope they'll receive it. Sometimes it's not even the ads, it's where they're landing. It's post-click. So there's all these weird little marketing things, but ultimately that leads to your CRM, what we're here to talk about, and the automation behind it. And then you got to like split test. There's all these weird things you could do. And it's a matter of, I think what Adam was saying is just try it. And sorry, I'm hearing what you're saying, Adam. I don't know if this is what you're saying.
All good.
Try it and see what happens. And that's probably been the most powerful thing I've done in with marketing that led me to a CRM, which pretty much just automates how my brain thinks. And then I try to make it pop out on a CRM somehow.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Brent, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Brent, I'm not sure if I've ever name dropped to you or ever on Solar Pulse, but have I ever told you Tony Robbins is a family friend?
No,
little
it's a
little
family
side tangent.
friend.
I know you've spoken about him a lot, and so I might blow your mind here. But yeah, Tony Robbins' dad was my stepdad's sponsor in AA, and Tony Robbins' parents used to babysit my sister. I've
No way. That's crazy, man.
yeah, I
Dude,
met him
that's
a bunch
cool.
when I was younger, but that connection is long gone now. We haven't spoken to them for years, but just wanted
Sure.
to blow your mind for
That's
once.
crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super crazy.
But yeah, this comes a good point. Like, we were talking about, should people go in, make it themselves, or should they find something out there that's just going to cut a lot of corners for them, but is proper? But then, like I mentioned, there's so many people out there now seeing like the dollar signs. Oh, what if I just make something, try to sell it to people and sell them the dream? Adam, if you were a brand new sales rep and you need to find a system, CRM automations, your fundamentals in solar sales, how would you, what advice would you give to a sales rep who really doesn't know anything by distinguishing what is actually going to work for me? What's something that is going to be that power source that's going to help me make good beer, right?
Yeah.
With Jeff Bezos examples, versus just a snake oil salesman, which in solar there is a phenomenal amount of when it comes to software and CRM. What are some like key points that you'd be like, ask them this, and this, and see what they would say,
Well, I mean, I look at if you want to be able to scale, right? I mean, we fall back to really you need to know how many, you need to, it's very simple: conversations, utility bills, presentations, and contracts, right? And so, I'll tell someone if they're hopping on with me, because it depends. You really need to understand where they're at in that, right? And then I think I also compartmentalize the systems that are needed to really scale a company into the 4 Rs, right? And those are reputation, reach, resell, and referrals, right? And so your reputation, your online presence, your reviews, your testimonials, right? And then your reach strategies, there's all kinds of reach strategies in solar. And some of those use more of your time and some of those use more of your money, right? I'm a big fan of, paid advertising as a reach strategy because once the KPIs are where you need it to be, you can scale that up. But that's not everybody's at a point where they can do that, right? And so if you're going to have more conversations, you need to figure out the reach strategy that's going to work for you and your business where you're at, right? Because if you have those conversations, you're going to get utility bills. If you get utility bills, right? And so you need to focus on and if you're looking into systems, right, and CRMs and things like this, what is right now, the big thing that's changing that I think is going to hit a lot of companies really hard is this new FCC ruling with single party opt-in, right? And if you've been running a CRM like myself or Brent, this is something you've been well aware of since, the A2P stuff rolled out this year, right? Because we used to be able to just, okay, let me upload my list of contacts and let me send them a text message, and that's all you needed to do to increase your reach, right? You can't do that. The carriers will shut you down, and this is going to get clamped down even further, right? And so
the days of bulk SMS messages were wild.
well, those
I
are
love
over.
those
Those
things.
are over,
They're completely done now.
right?
It's not even a matter of you'll get shut down immediately just
Yeah,
after a few messages if you start spamming.
yeah.
Um,
Even if you
yeah,
have a so-called good list with denier IDs and all the, it's just that is not a reach strategy. And the same thing, I mean, this happened to email. I mean, but at the end of the day, you're not getting people to come to you, right? You're really spamming people if you're grabbing a list and blasting out, right? And so, the big thing right now is what system can you plug into that, because a lot of companies that I talk to, even established companies, I'll go to their website. I'm like, well, if you want to do your A2P and you want it to go through quickly and you want to be able to have an AI automated system like we have, you need to have a compliant website, and it's not. You need to add the check boxes, the terms and conditions, the privacy policy, right? And so there are systems like ours where you fill out a form and you sign in, and the system, you have a compliant website, you have compliant funnels and calendar pages and things like this, right? And so that's the number one thing I think if you're looking into a system right now is, what are you doing to generate actual opted in data, right? Because even if my reach strategy is I'm going to put door hangers or, drop cards or whatever, that needs to lead back to the form that has the little checkbox that says that has your company name on it, right? That's the big change that's happening, is your company name on the opt-in checkbox, right? And that is going to hit a lot of companies really hard, and it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for, people that have those type of systems and things that they, like that's the main thing right now that I would be concerned about and talking and asking people if you're going to plug into any type of application to person, which is what a CRM is, right? It's an application to person software, right? And
Yeah.
and then ask them, okay, how am I going to get leads into this, right? Because if they've already got a lead system in place, that's awesome, right? They can plug that into they can do like Go High Level's awesome. Go High Level's got way too much, right? It's a can do everything like in that team. I love it. Like for me, it's like a playground because I love the, like diving into it. But for your, at the end of the day, if you really need contacts, appointments, and opportunities, and that's about it, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you don't even have to automate the texting and emailing if you don't want.
No.
You should. You just don't have to. It's not. I think that comes later after you get. A lot of people jump in. And I had somebody just jump into CRMX just barely for the second time.
Uh-huh.
You guys have had this happen, and they come in and they're like, "Okay, yeah, I'm ready to go again." And they jump in for like a month, and like, "Oh yeah, no, sorry, Ken. I wasn't ready again." I'm like, "Ready for like what did you think you were going to do? Was the system just gonna somehow if you turn it on you magically got leads and they booked appointments with you? Because whoever's selling you that dream on the little ads that they do, I'm not going to name ads, it's a bunch of bullshit. That's not how marketing works. Our CRMs don't magically do anything to get you leads. They magically help you manage your leads, follow up with leads, book leads, but they don't get you leads. CRMs manage the leads. CRM, customer or client relationship management, is not a lead. It doesn't do what Adam does, which is like go place ads and get traffic and get them in. So the first thing to understand is, or one of the first things to understand is that let's talk basics for a second. There's these weird terms we all use in marketing and CRMs, which we call lead capture.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the thing where they capture a lead. That means, or lead gathering, you can call it. I don't know how else to put it. Somebody puts their information in and says, you can contact me about this thing that I just inquired about. We call those lead magnets.
Mm-hmm.
It attracts people in, right? This is all basic stuff for all of us on here. I just, as people listen, and then it gives us talking points to kind of like point at it. But like, guys, if you don't have, I would say at least 3, I always try to say 5 lead capture mechanisms. A mechanism, what's that? A opt-in, like a form that you can put on a landing page or a website, like a form, they fill it out. Yes, give me a free proposal. Yes, give me a free 5-page cheat sheet. Yes, give me a free whatever, right? That's a form. That's one mechanism. Then you might have a chat bot in the bottom of your, or somewhere on your website that they can click on and say, I would have a question. That captures their information. It asks for it. That's 2 mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a keyword, text in a keyword to get this thing. And when you text in the keyword, you're compliant and you say, you agree that we're going to send you stuff and you can press or reply stop anytime. And here's your free thing. That's, you just caught their phone number. And then typically I do the little, it feels like it's a bot, but it feels like somebody's asking them questions. Hey, thanks for requesting your free guide. What's your name?
Uh-huh.
They say Adam, and they say thanks. And then the bot says, thanks, Adam. What's the best email to send this to? And now I got Adam's phone number because he just texted me. He agreed. He gave me his name and I got his email. That's a clean opt-in.
Yeah.
But he didn't go to a landing page. So there's another one. Another one, guys, to get them into your CRM is all we're talking lead capture here, is you're on a door and you fill out a damn form manually.
Yeah.
The problem with that, with marketing automation, is you don't have permission to do anything with that. You don't. You would literally have to have them, legally speaking. There's no way they're going to monitor this, but like legally speaking, they are supposed to their finger check the box. Legally speaking, you can't even check the box for them, even if you ask them, is it okay? That's legally speaking, you're supposed to, on the doors with Sales Rabbit and anything else, when you capture that data, you cannot automatically market to them. It's completely illegal. So it's interesting, but that is one way. If you take the time to ask them, is, will you click right here, agree that I'm going to contact you? Who does that, first of all? So like 1 out of 2,000 sales reps on the doors might do that. They do it once, by the way, and then they say, that sucked, I'm not asking that again. And then they but there's another one. So if you think about this, guys, you capture leads, then it's about what do you do with them. And my theory, I was just reading a book. Have you guys ever read or I'm listening to it, the One Page Marketing Plan? This one?
I have seen that book, but I haven't listened to
I've
it.
never
Is
even
it good?
heard of him. I don't know who it is. It got recommended on Audible. I was like, I have 3 credits. I want to listen to something. I was like, it's been a bit since I've studied somebody's marketing. Let's hear it. He does a phenomenal job at summarizing so many people I've listened to into a nice, clear way of what marketing really is and how marketing actually, I agree with him because, oh, wow, this is going to sound cute. In my book, Follow-Up Fortunes, it literally, as he's saying it, my head's nodding as he's saying it in his book, because he's like, guys, marketing and sales is not about how can you quickly get a sale. That is at the beginning of our call, Adam and you guys asked us, in some way or shape or form, we don't care about selling anybody. We just want to add some value to people's lives, right? The sales part is out of our nature, human nature, to have to push somebody to buy my shit. That is not how humans work. Yet it's what's taught. What is it called? The A-B, always be
Selling.
Okay. I get that, guys, and I'm sure you've all taught this, but really? Do you always have to be closing? Sounds kind of like a jackass to me. So like and I don't mean you are a jackass if you're always closing, but here's what it means. Here's what it means. Ready? You're thinking of how can you get something from somebody most of the time. Whether you like it or not, your ego wins. Your ego starts with, well, I'm only just trying to serve them. Sure, I know you did the numbers if you close this deal. I know you said what's going to hit my bank account before you thought serving them. I'm not dumb. So like there's this weird thing that's taught to always be closing, yet nobody teaches to always be there to serve. Just be there to follow up, be on the top of mind, be there for them. You don't have to close them right now. The fact of the matter is this: when you capture a lead and you follow up, and Adam, I think you probably know this really well with how much data you push to people's CRM, right? Like leads, and you see it. No matter how much you try, there's still a certain percentage, it's pretty like finite, that just convert right then. No matter how much you try, there's like 5% or less that will buy now or book appointments now, right? And then no matter how much follow-up you do, no matter how much ABCs you're doing, no matter how many hardcore closes you have from Grant Cardone's book, it does not matter. It won't close. You won't raise your percentage. So what's the problem? It's because people don't actually say, oh, maybe if I just wait and follow up and / actually build a relationship, try to get a little trust going here, give them some value, and use the CRM to help me automate some of that and make it easy for my brain so I don't get overwhelmed, I can build a relationship with people over time. Then when it's time for them to buy, they just raise their hand and they say, well, Adam's been in touch with me. He sent me this. I've seen his email. In fact, honey, I know we need solar because of whatever their name stopped by our house, but Adam's just barely texted me like last week. Let me respond to him and see if he can get us a quote. You see what I mean? Like that's how follow-up, that's how sales actually works. It's how we all buy naturally, not from a jackass.
Yeah, like the word is nurture, right? You need to nurture leads.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's, that's you like the combination of the lead capture, like you said, because you shouldn't rely on one reach strategy for capture, right? you should have a way at the door. You should have a way at the local events and all, right? And then if you have like that's what like automation and good CRM is able to do is it's able to nurture because when you scale your business big enough, you're going to have way more contacts than you can remember how to nurture them, right? But if your system, is built out well to nurture and, like we just built in a 2-year email nurturing sequence into, and it's it's not about selling them like you said, right? It's about top of mind. I'm providing them like interesting content every single week. I've got an interesting, like another little thing that I can take a little like because you start giving enough, you'll have everything you ever want, right? And that, you build that into a system, whether it's on Go High Level or HubSpot or any, quality system that's built that's what you really gain by plugging into a CRM. And that's something that you can't build overnight, right? That's something but you can plug into overnight.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'm sure with that 2 years that you have, you can plug right into Adam's stuff. Go buy his stuff, and then yeah, I'm just playing. The not playing, but playing. The the but really, that's the key is finding somebody who could do it for you or has already done it, and then you can tap in there. But let me back up just real quick. We're in the holidays right now. Here's the perfect example. I find it the hardest thing to help people's brains wrap around nurturing because it seems like, again, this just shows us how selfish we are really at our core. It's like, well, it doesn't compute to my bank account fast enough. They're just like, I don't know what's wrong, but they're like, it doesn't hit my bank account fast enough. So why should I nurture them? I want to close the deal. Who's ready to buy from me now? Yeah, 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 yeah. Like that, right? It's like, just take a breath. They're going to buy from you if they're ready. As long as you're decently trained in sales and you're have a little bit of personality behind it, just like that takes some practice. It's not that hard to get somebody to say, sure, let's look at what you have to offer. That's not hard. The hard part is to see in the holidays, it's like this. You guys have the family member you get around, and it's probably been a while since you've seen them, but you know to avoid them. They're going to talk your ear off. They're annoying somehow. You know what I'm talking about. I might be that for somebody at our parties. Who knows? But the point is there's that person, right? That is what you don't want to be in your follow-up. Just because you're following up does not mean they like you. Doesn't even mean they trust you. It just means now that you have a system in place in your CRM, the copy matters, the timing matters. Not, guys, I don't mean there's a perfect time of the day at 11:02 a.m. and that's when to send the email. I mean, don't be too frequent. Don't be the weird family member or neighbor that you're just like, oh, Bob's knocking at the door again. How do we like pretend we're not home, honey? Like, good Lord, right?
Yeah.
He's top of my mind and I don't care is what I'm trying to say. Like there's being top of mind. And Adam, I know you know this. I just want to point little nuances out.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's top of mind and then there's top of mind and it's a pleasure that you're speaking with them. They're like, oh yeah, I love talking with Adam because he's always bringing up good points. He has good value to bring. He never leaves me empty handed. And he just brings up good stuff. He's not always just trying to always be closing me, So like, if that's the case, they welcome you. You're the welcome guest, not the annoying pest. And so follow up can make you an annoying pest, by the way. So that's where I'm like, you can't just follow up. You can't just like pound them over the head with new offers. Merry Christmas, you should buy my stuff. Happy New Year's, you should buy my stuff. Happy Valentine's Day, you should buy my stuff. Happy St. Patrick's Day, you should buy my stuff. If that's your marketing, you still suck. Like that's the reality. So you can't just do that kind of stuff. Okay, guys, I'm pretty passionate today. Woo.
I'm gonna take off my list now. I was gonna literally CRM everybody on the holidays. All right, am I back? You guys can hear me?
Well, Frank Kern, man, Frank Kern is email you 10 times a day though.
Oh, dude, Frank's gone AWOL, man. Frank has gone AWOL. But he's still, even then, he's still so good at somehow adding value while he's selling.
Oh, yeah,
he's so good at that.
Copywriting is key.
Yep. He's so good at being like, hey, what's up? Yeah, anyways, got this free thing for you. Check it out. And then on the free thing, it's like, oh, and you should buy my stuff. Like, and that's like, but that's kind of the under the radar sell. He doesn't just come out and say, you should buy my stuff. So, yeah, it's interesting.
All right. So you guys can hear me
like
now.
6
I'm
times
back,
a day.
right?
Yeah.
To the viewers,
Yes.
Joe, you never left. You were always
I
here.
never left. It's even
Yeah,
more
Joe,
beautiful.
it kind of comes in and out.
Well, I'm glad it was me because I'm probably the least needed person for this podcast because you guys are probably just killing it with this conversation. But I want to add something there, Brent, because I don't know. I'm going to back up the salespeople a little bit here. And there is something to ABC, obviously, and because the better salespeople are usually hyper focused. They're just focused on closing. And a way to close same day is building urgency, right? Like there's no reason to wait. Let's get this, closed today, because if they're really selling solar, for example, they want to help them. The sooner they get solar, the sooner they're going to be, better with their bills.
Yep.
So what do you guys do to add urgency in your follow-up, in your systems? Is there like a thing where you do like, all right, urgency now, or do you can't just keep building urgency on every message, right?
Typically with urgency for me,
meaning,
let's
I'm
talk
just real
technical
quick.
ways.
Meaning is that the Solar Pro still wants that sooner than later, right? And you guys still want that too, even though you're nurturing. But their goal is to get them signed up, right? So is there tricks for that to build that urgency? It's a better way to say it.
Yeah, and let me preface it with this for me, and is always be closing for sure. If that's your job, always be closing. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. What I am saying is there's still, no matter how good you are, Mr. Michael O'Donnell, you're still only going to close your percentage, because Michael O'Donnell's damn good. I've heard the dude. He was talking to my son. I was like, should I buy your stuff? Like, can you sell me solar? Like, he's so good.
Yep.
The key is he will be the first to admit, I only close a certain percentage. No matter how I try, I have an average. And so, and I promise you, it's not that high. Meaning there's a far more percentage that don't buy from him, right? And I don't mean his sits, guys. I mean everyone he talks to that becomes a lead, just a opt-in, a person that said, here's my contact information. That is a lead. An appointment and a sit, that's a different story. Sure, you might have a 50-50 if you're damn good at it, right? But even then, you're like top of the line, especially in virtual sales, if you're closing half of your sits. Like, wow, okay, you had a good week, So the point is this: always be closing, but always understand this: more people will buy from you later. That's it. So be as damn good at closing, but understand that you're going to lose most of the time, and that's okay. But don't ignore the lead. That's what your CRM's for. That's exactly what we're here to talk about. Like, your CRM should be doing the part that you are no good at or don't want to be good at. Like, I'm closing, let the CRM do the follow-up and get me back into the conversation when they're ready, and I'll jump back into that conversation and get back to my mode of closing. That's fine. So that said, Joe, your question is urgency. Have a timer on on your stuff. So you can use timers, not on everything. Just hear me out. These are just tactics. You can have timers in your emails. You can have timers on your landing pages. You can have timers from an ad to a landing page. If you have a deadline, that's typically called a promotion. I'm running a promotion. It ends on this. So that creates urgency. You do that on the doors. They see, we're only going to be here until the end of October. And you have to buy by, you have to be wearing a costume if you're going to buy from us. And that's it. Like, you get a bonus if you have a pumpkin on your doorstep. That creates urgency. But in reality, there's timing. There's the other thing is you don't have to use timing. You can use limited amounts. Don't lie. Don't create. But you certainly, here's how I do it is I say, hey guys, how many deals can we close maximum this week? Well, or install, not deals, install, like before our team's done, like we'd be backed up. And they'll say 32. And then that is in my campaign guaranteed. Okay, we have 32 spots this month, and first come, first serve, urgency. The other thing is you can take bonuses away. So you can add bonuses. And if you are going to threaten to take them away, you must take them away. Don't just say, oh, just joking, we'll give you the bonus anyways. Like you say, these by the end of the month, you're going to get a free appliance. At the end of this month, those free appliances are gone. We're out. You can combine all of those timing, bonuses, and limited amount as well, and it creates urgency. So these things you can throw in, and a lot of people are doing it, but when you start doing it they're doing it on accident. They're like copycatting. But if you start understanding the formula, you can actually create some cool campaigns behind it and create urgency. Even on the doors, you can create your own urgency as a team. Okay, guys, what do we want to do to create some urgency this week? Is there anything we're willing to like give away or bonus in or bring by some pizza for the first? I'm making up stuff, but like you can do things to create urgency. So that's how I would look
in
at it.
solar, we actually have like seasons of urgency that can be like, right? Because we're getting into the springtime, right? The urgency is get your power plant installed before the harvest season, right? You're going to capture all your solar energy in the summer. Why wait until the end of the year when you just missed all that energy that just hit your roof, right? And so at the end of the night, and then we move into the end of the year and we got a season of, hey, you don't want to miss out on this year's tax credits. You missed out on last year, right? And so we have these natural seasons of urgency that can be baked into because of the industry we're in, because the solar chart looks like this over the year, right? And there's different incentives and things like that. So
you just made me think of a good campaign to try if you have an ad budget and not in a hurry.
You should do the net metering.
Imagine well, just imagine like March, April, May, February, like running ads without hardly any call to action at all. Just warning, summer's here, summer's coming, and I would just have pictures of bills in like, here's our current state, and here's what's coming, summer. And your bill, and I would show how the bills spike, and I just keep showing that, and then the next month I'd show the next month how it spiked a little bit, and I just keep showing it and be like, and then at that point I would just like slam them hard with something. So like, there you can build anticipation as well. That might be a sucky idea, by the way, but you can build anticipation, which then creates like it makes the urgency all the more better. Movies do that all the time with trailers, right? Trailer, new trailer releases, and finally, like, we're just like FOMO'd out. We're like, I can't believe this is coming. I got to get it now. So, yeah.
It's almost like a form of carpet bombing. You hit them hard with an engagement ad, and then you retarget the same. But conversion ads generally are working the best right now. Straight conversion just goes straight to the CTA.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's also urgency you can build into, if we're talking marketing campaigns. I love technology focused, right? And this new, like, you have an evergreen, like, huge list of new technology that comes into the solar industry. This new inverter, this new plug-in hybrid, this new panel, this new, like. And so that right there, you can, and Brent's right, if you stack a couple of those things together, right, of, be the first to, because, be the first to get these new, XYZ, whatever it is, build.
Yeah, that definitely hits a good part of the market. I would say, I don't know what part of the market is on the I'm guessing it's usually the more innovative thinkers, right? Like with solar, I mean, because solar is not required. You do have to be a little proactive in thinking, I want that, right? So that's probably a good, like, technologies. Good proof of that is one of the ads that I've seen run the most and the longest is these damn Tesla batteries that show up because it seems innovative on the ads, like they're just warned to be. And then the other one is that solar flower thing. You guys have seen the solar flower thing.
The smart flower.
So like, not that you should run those ads, I'm trying to say, but people do those because they typically work for a time because they just seem awkwardly weird and advanced technology, or they've heard that Tesla has advanced new stuff and I should look at it. So you're right. I like that idea. Technology is just built in for us.
The Tesla Powerwall ads are like, those have historically always been real hard, just piggybacking off of the Tesla name, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we dove into the marketing side of things, right, on the CRMs, but it's super important too with and depending on your messaging too, you're gonna catch different levels of, of people in their buyer's journey, right? And so many people's way of marketing is, oh, $5,000 off, and like it's just, that. I mean, not saying that it doesn't still work, but the level of a lead that you attract of someone who's like, hey, get my panel comparison guide as a lead magnet, like Brent said, right? That compares the latest two top panels that you should know about, right? Or whatever. You're going to attract a much more quality person than, hey, $5,000 off for the first person to fill this form out,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The back end of those ones, Adam, just as a warning sign to everyone that's not tried ads and thought I'll just do what everyone else is
Mm-hmm.
doing, which is $2,000 to $5,000 off. The back end nightmare is one you attract a customer that wants it for the
Yeah.
money first and foremost. And that's okay. You think that's okay if they want the money. But the problem is then they don't realize, because you don't want to reveal that it's going to take 6 months to get on their roof and give them the money
Yeah.
afterwards. And so you don't want to tell them it's 6 months later they're getting this $5,000 or however much. So they wait. They get frustrated. Something may happen, may not happen. Then the system size smaller than you thought it was going to be, so they're not getting $5,000, they're getting $800. Now you have a monster of a person that wants to give you 1 star and hurt
Yeah.
you at the end of the day, even though you attracted them with what you thought was a good offer, and really you just turned them into a beast because all you did was set them up for failure the whole time. So you got to be careful on your ads. But back to the CRM, it's cool. I thought when you said different types, Adam, how do you and Josh, like what have you guys done segmentation wise? I know you have your different versions, but what I mean by that for listeners is, guys, when we do lead magnets or door, we have these different lead sources and they come in and they essentially are telling us what kind of customer they are if we're asking decent questions throughout our follow-up. What have you guys, Adam and Josh, done to like put them in different buckets? So you might follow up with them slightly differently, or at different times you might wait longer, or you might like jump on them right then because they're showing their hands up. Like, how do you guys do that in your automation or your CRM? I'm just curious.
By customer type or by lead source?
It can be any of it. I just more like, how do you segment and what do you pay attention to so you know like how fast to move with them, or what offer to put in front of them sometimes is a key thing.
I think the customer type is, you can control the customer type based off the marketing. Like it's a night and day difference of running a solar ad versus a problem centric ad. A solar ad, hey, get the cheapest quote now is going to get a shopper. A problem centric ad is going to be attracting customers that have a problem and want to fix that problem. So, the customer type, you can really strongly, predict them based off the creative and the ad that's run. But in terms of source, like we break things down to S1, 2, 3 values. So, we track whether it's a cold lead from a marketing partner, inbound leads. We track every single S1, 2, 3 value. For those who don't know, S1, 2, 3 values are marketing terms for the campaign ID, the ad set ID, and the ad ID. And so you can track exactly what customers are coming from certain creative, certain copies, certain ad sets, audiences, and campaigns. And so you can get down to real hardcore metrics to see exactly what type of creatives are converting most, closing most, what type of audiences are converting most, and we keep track of all of that. But I think the customer type, I believe that is the most controlled on the front end with the creative. And I know we're going to marketing. I want to bring it back to software and tech, but the two are very closely linked. That's why we're having so much of this conversation, right? But I think the customer type, I think there's so much more variability that people could be putting into their creatives and their copy, and going like moving away from the stereotypical solar ads, and just there's so few people doing it. But it's crazy to see when you start creating a different copy and creative and speaking to different types of customers. Social media platforms algorithms are fucking good. They know how to find people that will respond to that type of creative and copy. So if you imagine your customer in the perfect customer type that you want with a very specific mentality, and it's just look at the customers you've sold. What type of people are they? Okay, now write creatives and copy and create creatives on the front end that type of person is going to click on. And that's, in my opinion, how you control and monitor the customer type the most coming through the funnel through CRM.
How you attracted them in the first place.
I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
another big variable you need to consider is their responsiveness, right? And so we build a lot of our cadence on follow-ups, and the channel matters, right? Depending on the channel, but a lead that I've sent them 3 or 4 messages will automatically get a longer cadence, right? Because you can't just like, if you get a new lead and you're like, oh, I got 52 messages, I'm going to send this lead, right? And you send them every hour, they're going to go into that annoying phase, like you mentioned, Brett, right? But say right, if they just fill out a form and check the box, I might be very frequent in my communication because that person is engaged, right? But as that lead goes staler and staler, right, meaning they have not responded, I've sent them sent them email, tried to call them, right? Then that cadence should get longer and longer depending on depending on their responsiveness and how much they're responding, right? And then, a really good way right now is, once they do respond, getting back right away. And that's now possible for, instantly to have AI handle that response, right? And that combined with someone says, hey, I'm busy, get back to me next year, the system better be able to set a follow-up date next year where you're going to forget about that lead, that person, right? We have what we call the snooze follow-up date, right? And if they are, asked to be called next spring or something like this, you can be better sure that the system's going to kick in next spring, but it's not going to be pestering them with a message every single day till then. I might be sending them an email that, provides value every week. I might still continue to nurture and keep top of mind, but I'm not going to keep, right? So you need to meet people where they're at.
When the customer said next year, they meant January. So it's only 2 weeks away, Adam.
Okay. Depends.
Segmenting, lead scoring in a way, right? I just did a webinar. Our last little training we did was lead scoring and how to use. What's the concept of using lead scoring for in layman's terms? It's like who's engaging at a higher level and follow up with them faster. I call that BAFU, BAFU. It's behavioral, like based on their behavioral accelerated follow up. So like based on behavior, accelerate follow up or decelerate it in a lot of cases. But
that's BDFU.
That's how you can look at lead scoring in some, and usually that's I'm just naming stuff, guys. Everyone listening, like Adam and Josh, know all this stuff really good. So if I'm just the loudmouth sometimes, so like the you got clicks. You know how they're engaging if they're clicking on not your unsubscribe link, but the actual links you want them to click on. That just gives them a score, a point or two, or however much you want to define it. And then they can open an email. Let's start at the beginning. They can open an email. They can click an email. They can reply to an email. So those are the main three on emails. Text message, if they reply, and then 2, you can't see if they opened a text message. And then 2 is they can click a link as well. Like with a go high level, you have trigger links, which are cool because they could even trigger something and accelerate follow up if they even click that link, right? So there's that. So we got email engagement, we got text message, phone call. You can actually give them points if they have an incoming phone call. That's unusual, but still it can give them a point. What else am I missing, guys? That gives them like engagement points. Is there what else? Filling out a form, I guess, like filling out stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, booking an appointment. Yeah.
Yeah, like a real world example. I mean, those are all real world examples, but a really basic one for those listening would be you got a lead in, And Adam was saying the cadence of it. You're going to hit that lead when it comes in. They're engaged. You're hitting it like once or twice a day for a few days. You want to get your CTA, but then it's okay. Then a day, and then 2 days, and then 3 days, and eventually they're getting into that bucket of okay, maybe once a week of like value adds. But then the second they take an action, clicking a link or let's say booking an appointment, they're back in and they're getting hit. Let's say they no-show that appointment. They're going back into a no-show sequence. But just because you're only sending them an email a week before they book that appointment in, now they've no-showed. No, they were engaged. Send them the no-show sequence once or twice a day now. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, now they haven't responded again. Okay, now every 3 days, now a week. Okay, now they're back into the every week bucket, right?
Right.
When are they taking action? Oh, they're alive. Okay, hit them. Okay, yeah. Calm down. Oh, they're alive again. Let's go.
Right.
And the automation behind that is really genius. It's such a good way to maximize your results there.
Yeah, I'm more and more surprised, or I've learned not to be surprised anymore if I'm talking to a really intelligent business owner, really intelligent sales rep, sales manager, somebody who's been around CRMs a lot. And at first I was surprised, but I no longer expect this. They are just now, sometimes they're just like, wait, you can do that? I'm like, where the hell have you been? Like, what CRMs have you been using? It's not like this hasn't been around for 10 years. Just, I'm not talking about AI. Automation technically is AI, right, guys? I think we all agree. Like, technically, AI is just something that you can tell it what to do and it responds back. So I guess it has been around, but we're just talking about basic marketing automation, what Josh is talking about. Guys, you've always been able to do this. Like, as far as I can remember, 10 years out. It's just becoming more and more advanced, and now AI is added on top of it. So I think it's getting people's attention. But a CRM's probably, back to this concept of why we're on the call, I'd say it's, if you're even getting more than like, you're getting overwhelmed with how you're supposed to run sales and you're like, oh, I can't handle more. It's like when my brother Bennett reached out to me. The reason I got into solar is Bennett was closing like 4 to 5 deals a week, and he's really good. It doesn't surprise me he closes that many on the doors, by the way. So he's out knocking doors, setting his own appointments, self-gen, and closing 4 to 5 a week his first 2 months in. He's like, oh, this is easy, solar's cool. He just was like, let's roll. But what happens when you're doing that? You have no time to follow up. Doesn't matter how good you are, you have no time. And then you have no time to even do lead gen after a while. So you get in a feast or famine, because you are doing follow-up, but you're following up with your customers who you've closed and they have questions, and HOA is giving you a shitstorm, and then this and this and this, and you're handling it as much as you can. And so the CRM, when he reached out to me to help with marketing, I helped with some lead gen. That's fine. But I helped more with what he didn't even know. It was all this back-end automation that just freed him up. He's like, dang, okay. So I've been taking cookies and pizza to their home, and I can just do that automatically. Okay, cool. And then I get, like, you don't have to do that, guys. I'm just giving you an idea.
Cool
like,
automation,
a CRM can automate tasks that you thought you had to do, and you do not. So like, it just understand. I always say when somebody gets into marketing automation, CRM stuff, is, hey, just outline your exact process. Just nerd out on exactly what happens. I go and I knock a door. I say this, and there's certain scenarios that happen. I either get the appointment, I don't get the appointment. They tell me to go away. They won't give me their contact information, or somewhere in the middle where they gave me some contact information. And then I say, well, then what do you do with those scenarios? Well, this one I do this one I do that. And you go through it all. If you map that out on a whiteboard or wherever, you can take that and throw it in a CRM and automate damn well near all of it on decisions. Not like what, it's not like it's going to automate you to walk up to their door.
We might see that
I understand,
coming soon.
but like, it's going to suddenly, it will take over everything that you don't need to be there for. And that is called working smarter while working harder. It's not just about working smarter, not hard. It's just, hey, keep working hard, but you might as well work hard on the things that need you, right? And stop working hard on all the stuff that a CRM can just crush it for you. Much better than you, Josh, Adam, or Joe, or I. Like, none of us can even do that. We know how to use CRMs, but we can't do all the tasks that CRMs are doing. It's not because we know how to do it. We just nerd out over the weird automations. we're not even good at what the CRM does. We just tell the CRM what to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, we're not, the CRM can send out emails. I suck at sending out emails. I just know how to tell it what to do. So it's a cool concept to understand that you can just leverage the CRM to become your best marketing hand over here that just sits there and says, okay, I'll take care of this. You do this. Right. And that's how I look at CRMs at this point. And my hope is that somebody's listening to this is they get to the point to where, like, I'm running a business and I need to scale past myself. And I'm telling you, the top 3 things you need to do, one of them is going to be a CRM. Like, one of them is going to be optimize your CRM. There might be some others like recruiting and different things and getting a team, but one of them is going to be a CRM.
Yeah, because automation can step in, right? A lot of places.
Stuff.
Adam's still
What
here?
happened to my
Yeah.
lose?
I think is. Well,
I was gonna say something with Bennett. So Bennett was closing so much that he was giving so many homeowners cookies for gifts that he said, you know what, forget solar. I'm gonna start just selling cookies, and that's how Dirty Dough was born. Got
Seriously.
it now.
Yeah. I asked him what he thinks they're going to be valued at soon. It's approaching $500 million.
Hell yeah, baby! I love to hear that. Solar Boy makes
is this
big,
mic
baby.
still working?
Yeah.
I don't think it's working anymore.
Is Adam here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Not sure you still with us there, Adam?
No. I'm here. I can hear you guys.
I can't see him. I'll kick him and get him back in here. But one thing I was going to say, I guess, how long have we gone? We've gone for an hour and a half already.
Damn.
One thing that's very, very relatable to CRMs, I'd love for Adam to be in here when I go through this. I don't know, Joe, if you can shoot him a message and get him back in. But we've gone through follow-ups, we've gone through CRMs, marketing, and it's been said once or twice, but AI is now a massive fucking piece to CRMs. Copywriting and live communication with customers, all the different implementations. I'll start you off, Brent. When Adam's in here, I can get his 2 cents. But specifically with CRMs, what is the most valuable thing that AI is doing with CRMs right now, and what does that look like in the future?
I'd say having conversations for you. That's the most valuable thing. And when I say that, I mean, for me, text message conversations or messaging conversations.
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We got you now, Adam.
All right.
Let's just repeat the question that's okay?
Yeah. So, Adam, we talked about CRMs, follow-ups, all this fun stuff. We've mentioned it a bit before. You've mentioned it a bit. I know you have a lot of AI stuff going on as well. AI is now such a damn valuable thing when combined with a CRM. So the question is, how? And Brent was going into what he was responding with. What is the most valuable thing that AI is offering to CRMs right now, and what does that look like in the future?
So, do you want to? Were you in the middle of answering this, Brent? You can go if you want.
I was just going to repeat my answer in a short form. I was just saying,
go for it.
The thing I trust with it the most right now, that's immediate value, is start the conversation, hold a conversation in a chat type forum, right? Like meaning text messages, an example.
Yeah.
And then being able to then overcome objections and even book an appointment. That's, I think, the immediate value for a sales org or any kind of trying to get, especially if you run by appointments, that's an immediate value. There's certainly other things, but that's the first one that I would say is like high value.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're a small company, right, you're not able to respond most of the time. If you're a busy salesperson, most of the time, you're not able to respond, right? And if that lead fills out, like we automated a long time ago, a call that went out to the lead owner when it comes in, right? And call his phone. If he picks it up, he pushes the button. Now it's calling the lead, right? And so what the AI has the potential to do now is automate every single channel that you have with that new lead and respond to them, right? And we're getting into, it's still early days, but we're getting into AI voice technology now that's very capable and
Oh
very,
yeah.
beneficial, right? And some people are creeped out by it and like I've had some conversation with AI voice that I cannot wait until my banks, the companies that I do business with, have this type of technology in there. Because at the end of the
Exactly.
day, what intrigues me so much and what I'm so excited about with AI is the amount of time that it gives me back, right? And that's my
Yeah.
most valuable resource. I can go spend all my money and I can go get it back. Once I've invested that time somewhere, I spend it, it's gone, right? And so it has the tremendous ability to save so much time for the business and probably just as importantly, the customer, right? Because if that customer has a question that they're like, I hopped on with a company last week and we threw their website into the system and we had 800 like Q&As that pulled off of their website. How long would it take you to train up a person to know all that information and be able to respond quickly and instantly 24 hours a day? What type of a team would you need? Right.
Seriously.
And,
Yep.
that amount of time, and yes, it can book appointments, it can do, it's a complete game changer. And the voice literally is the last channel that I think we're going to see in 2024. We're literally going to see every single channel. I already have all these other channels working really well. Voice has gotten to the point where it's early on, it's got its, quirks and all this, it's going to but the companies that are looking to automate this are going to provide the most value to their customers because they're saving their customer the most amount of time. They're giving them the answers right away when they need that, right? Because if I filled out a form, and I mean, it really depends on like the type of marketing too, on like, do I need that information right now? Because if I caught someone on Instagram or Facebook, that's interruptive marketing, and they probably weren't ready to like immediately talk with the lead. But there's some, I think your chances of converting that lead are like 348% less if you don't respond in the first 5 minutes after they filled out a form, right? And
Yep.
there's a crazy bunch of like, and so that instant response is actually improving the quality if it's done in a good way, because I've seen some AIs that's really crappy, right?
Yeah.
But,
It can kill
you
the
know,
it kills the conversation, right? But yeah.
it can kill
Yeah.
it, right? It can, right? But if it's done properly, it's going to save the customer and the business so much time. And, that is something that's going to make, I'll get to go spend more time with my kids. Same with you, Brent, and same with, and, do those things, right? We're literally coming to the day where you can hop into a system, you can choose what ad spend you want, you can click go, and all that copy, all of that thing, everything has been thought out and planned and tested and went through, and the leads will opt in and end up on your calendar. And so you now can focus
Mm-hmm.
more on the sales and less on and I think, everyone on this call probably has those really good systems in place, right? And that's like, how long would that take you to like build out, plug into Josh, Brent, myself, Joe's, plug into these systems that have taken years to develop, and all of that, it's the same thing. If I want to learn sales, I'm going to look for who can I go learn from, right? Because if I just go out and try to learn it on my own, I'll go a lot slower.
Josh knows a little about that
Yeah, no, I
all-in-one
agree.
software. Josh.
Josh doesn't know anything. He's just sitting back, seriously, on an island, I'm pretty sure, and he just sits there in a tiki, like under a
That's a
little
good way
like
to do
thing,
it.
and then he says he's doing work, and he's just doing nothing. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. No, Josh, guys, there's my sarcasm. That was like supposed to be like Josh is a badass at this stuff. That's what I'm really saying. Um, he just sent me before you say anything, Josh. He just sent me one crappy Joe and I in a chat. This is last week, I think, Josh. You sent us like the crappy version of like, hey, here's the first rendition. Like, just I know it's shitty, just hear it. I was like, yes, that is shitty. The voice is what I'm talking about, not the but he was showing us, hey, it's pulling this content automatically. This is insane. Voice, I understand, sucks. And then he sends us another one.
Yeah.
Content still nailed down. And then the voice, I'm like, well, damn, that sounds good. So like in like 2 tries, he's like, I got it nailed down, guys. It's been 6 days and I'm pretty sure I have this put together, and I put my glasses on and I like go to work and I get this done. Like he's so damn smart. I didn't know that, but like he's a smart dude. Sorry, Josh. I'm making fun of you at the same time because I'm jealous.
The one I sent you guys a day or 2 ago, that is wild. So what I did there is I trained a preset voice, but with my intonation, and then with our fine tuned with our data set. That's wild. The one I sent you
It
guys
sounded just like you. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Same
It was good.
tonality, everything. It was like, wow.
And technically we could also do that. A little background, Adam, I'm working on voice right now. And that technically we could also perfectly clone whoever their own voice. But in my head, it's not about sounding like that. It's actually about coming up with what voice is actually going to be the best. And this is an A/B test that is going to be so wild for phone sales, because you're going to be able to do like a shit ton of calls and see conversion rates, and you're going to be able to change tonality, inflections, gender, like and A/B test on vocal patterns. Like that is so wild to me. It's going to be so fun.
Dude, what's crazy is you can literally use like what you're saying, but almost use, that a Joe Rogan voice might convert better on this person. Based off their criteria and where they came from, they listen to the podcast. They listen to this person more. They're a Tony Robbins fan, so they got this raspy voice that you're talking to on the thing. Like that. Like you can do all that, and it's insane. Or you have like a Lori Harder, who's like a fitness gal and who's like very bold, and she talks, and you get this gal who is in the fitness coaching world, and picture a fitness coach, not even in solar, just any industry, who's like they're targeting people who are interested in fitness, and you have a Lori Harder voice put into your AI bot. She would just crush it, whoever that, because they don't even know why they like the voice. They're just like, somehow this relates to me. Well, it's because you've been listening to her podcast for the last 3 years, so like it's insane what you can picture in doing this.
With TTS, text to speech, voice generation, what you do is there's a million different settings that you can do, but it's all variable for every single segment of audio. And so in a single call, there could be 50, 100, 200 different segments of audio that you generate to send back. But that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. What if you asked on the front end certain variables, or maybe you determined their location based off of address, and then you change the accent for every single call that you do, or the accent or the gender or the, or some sort of intonation based off of the variables that you collect on the lead form. And so every single call, you create a persona, and then you just save those text-to-speech settings for that lead in your CRM. So whenever a call is made to the API to get your voice stream, you're using the same settings, and you're curating the perfect voice for that customer.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Pretty much what Brent said, cool. Right, Brent?
What is there's a software, I'm forgetting the name of it. Starts with a C that you can plug in. It plugs into LinkedIn and can build their personality type off of their LinkedIn profile and like the right greetings. It's
that AI.
Is that what you're asking? Starts with it starts. This clever.
It is Crystal.
Crystal. I think it is. Okay. I think you're right. Yeah. Like
I think I have my little bookmark, so I had to go look. Like
I think
AI
it's Crystal.
Tool bookmark.
I think you're right. It is Crystal.
Yeah.
Right.
But you guys are saying, like, Adam, you said that voice is the last channel. I actually don't agree with you. The last channel is the combination of everything.
Okay.
For example, you've seen the AI, but they look human-like, dead human-like. Now you have voice coming in, and now we have conversations through large language models. You put that together, now you're not just talking about voice or chat, you're putting it all together, and they're able to jump on a Zoom call with a human. You cannot tell the difference, that they look human. Their speech is perfect, and they're using trained large language models to give the exact responses. Now you're doing Zoom calls at scale with a human.
Mm-hmm.
That, and talk about variables. You can change the physical appearance of the variable based off of, a metric that you gather from the customer. You're curating a human.
Yeah. No,
Every,
Yeah.
right?
I
And
think
then
you're
you
right.
add
I
in
think
Brent
ultimately,
sarcasm.
yeah, right. That's what I was gonna. What I was. When you're doing this, I think Adam has such a the strong point behind all of this. The purpose of doing all this is creating freedom for the user, for the
Mm-hmm.
consumer, freedom of time, and is what they will pay for. Ultimately, they're going to go to the company. If I'm debating in my head as I say this. That is what they're going to. That's what they're going to choose between. Who's saving me? I don't care if I have a human. I get that. That's far gone. In fact, I prefer not to have one at this point because the AI is so good. Picture me in the future. I
Mm-hmm.
prefer not. Like if you get a human, I'm like, oh God, like a human. This is gonna take forever. Like what are these
Yeah.
guys? It's gonna feel like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna
Yeah.
feel like that. And
Yeah.
I got to be careful on this, but it's kind of like when you get on a phone call with a bank or whatever, and it's somebody in India and their accent's so strong you cannot understand. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're an awesome human being, but I'm like, motherfucker, like I can't understand what you're saying. I just need to know my this, and this. And they're like, I just said that. I'm like, no, you didn't, because I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Like that. Picture my annoyance, guys. I told you I'm pretty bold with stuff. Picture my annoyance with that being the same with a human versus AI giving me exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I will be just as annoyed in the future because my behavior has now adopted to what Josh you were just saying. Like, and then Adam, the point is freedom. Like I'm like, I know it'll be solved before I even call. I just wanted to call. So like it'd be pretty cool to show up on a Zoom. In a way, Josh, there wouldn't even be use for a Zoom or a video meeting unless that AI could present something to me. I don't care if I'm talking to you, your
Yeah.
avatar. That wouldn't even influence me any longer. It would actually be more how well could you present that information in a smooth 30-second thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, cool. Oh, yep, thanks. That's a perfect demo. Josh, oh, by the way, can you hurry and show me this too on what else your software does? Oh, yeah. Let me pull that up. Boom, boom, boom. And then you're talking. And then I might say, hey, Josh, could you just give me your best Joe Rogan voice instead on that one? And you, yeah. And you turn into that. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's so many cool things you could do to sell somebody on that. I think it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is
It'll
I
opened
mean,
my
be
mind.
interesting.
I'm pro phones only. I like phones only sales, and the reason is because Zoom and video, there's so much room for human error, showing the right things, the wrong things, making things too complicated. I think the day that I get turned away from phones only to video, which is what a majority of people when they start selling remotely, they immediately think Zoom, and that's
Yeah.
not the right choice in a majority of situations. But where I'm going to get turned to is when you can create this fully encompassing, Android that can perfectly present everything in a seamless way at scale.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'm going to be like, okay, phones is now, no, let's actually go video. But we spoke with Joe from Ciro a few months back, and he was saying the similar thing about, is it that maybe we have an inclination, oh, I don't want to talk to an AI, but haven't we said that about so many other innovations before? And is there in fact a deep hidden thing inside of us, maybe not so hidden for some others, that eventually, no, we won't want to talk to humans. We're going to get on a call. We'll be like, no, I don't want to. Do you have an AI? I don't want to talk to a human. and also there's the thing. What we're
I'm
talking
already
about.
that way, dude. Like I'm
Yeah.
already past that. Like
Yeah, it's like
just
having a
chat
GPS
GPT
or a
alone,
paper
I
map.
have better conversation. Yeah, I have better conversations with
Right.
AI than I do with most people.
You can feel
And that's
you
probably me. I think that's probably me because I'm sucking at communicating. I'll take half of that credit at
Too
least.
much
Me being
sarcasm.
crappy. Yeah. But like, it's just such a good conversation to be like, um, sorry, Josh, I cut you off, but I was just saying when I put a prompt in, I get clarity back.
Mhm.
And then the better I get, and then I put a better prompt in. And I say prompt, just questions, guys.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like prompt guy. I just mean good questions, good this. And you keep, all of a sudden, it's like the more I do that, at the end of that conversation with AI, I am crystal clear. When it's not that way with a human every time. It very few times is it in clarity, and that it brings that freedom, that peace in your mind. You're like, that's what I want. That's what I want to go do next. Well, that doesn't happen all the time with a human. I don't know how many times I'm talking to Christy. I'm like, get the goddamn point, woman. And she slaps me, like so
There's
like anyway, sorry, Josh.
That's
Go
why
on.
Google's so scared, right? Because
Yeah.
it was months ago I started going to ChatGPT for all the answers because it would take me longer, right? It's but yeah, we're gonna see this melt. I mean, like, because then you take what you're talking about, Josh, and it's plugged into a pricing model with able to instantly change out, a pricing, a pricing and a radiance models where it's able to change up, these are the kind of CRMs of the future that I think we're going to see very shortly. you know.
I still question whether using a system like, okay, so if you're talking about AI being more, I'm more comfortable with AI. If I'm speaking to an AI, I know it's not a human, so there's no pressure. Like,
Hmm.
they are there to serve me. I can take as long damn time as I need to think about a response and whatnot. And so I agree that people are going to potentially feel more comfortable and ask more questions, but I don't know if that's going to be healthy for a conversion rate,
Hmm.
right? Is that actually going to benefit the conversion rate? Because if there's no pressure and if they don't feel that pressure in sales, there's a nice healthy pressure to take action, right? Good salesperson is not going to leave it open ended because no one's going to make a decision. They're going to apply a nice healthy pressure to enable you to make a good decision to benefit your life, right? But is that going to exist with AI? So then my brain goes to, well, immediately, if that's the case, if you're more comfortable and you have more time and you don't feel pressured, is it going to be the case that for the little guy who has barely any leads, is that going to be advantageous for them? For the big guy, for the sun runs out there that are drowning in leads and have nowhere near enough sales guys to take all these thousands and thousands and thousands of leads, hell yeah, because they can just throw that on there, right? They don't need the crazy conversion rates that a 50-50 closer is gonna have. They need a very small conversion rate to be profitable. They're gonna crush it. They'll get the AI out there and they don't care. But for the little guy who really needs to make sure deals get closed, so I don't know how they bridge that gap.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
I think it'll come back to the same old answer: is the consumer will tell us.
No.
Like they'll tell us what they want by their response. They'll be like, yeah, no, get me on the phone with a human, please. There needs to be a button eventually that says connect me with a real person. Or you need to anticipate that and just when this is going sideways. Not necessarily mid conversation. I'm talking about, although that would be cool. I just mean that type of lead or that type of where that's headed. The human picks that up compared to, oh, this is a closed deal. It just needs to have they just need to ask 3 questions and they close. Okay, cool. AI handle it.
Yeah, because
So
like the majority of people that have been plugged into this, everybody on this call, right? It's like second nature right now. For the majority of humans, it's not. Most people have not played around with ChatGPT and and this is a this is very interesting time, and so, you know,
you're right. Yeah.
there we're going to get to that point where you're talking, Brent, where it becomes like me telling my kids, like, hey, to send an F I had to press the three key 3 times to send the F in a text message. Like,
Yeah.
how annoying was that, right? And so, like, how much
I
more
get
time,
that, dude.
right? And now I can just talk into my phone and it types out it. Like, so it's already getting integrated in ways that people don't realize, right? Of just saving them time and the technology. But the expansion of the AI this year, and specifically the more like publicized of it, and the I would say the majority, like, I there's lots of people that I've hopped on and they're like, whoa, they haven't plugged into ChatGPT. Like it's very like
Yeah.
second nature for us, but for a lot of people, it's not. Right.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the calling thing. I also think that there's going to be companies that might just ruin it for everyone and they get it all, the FTC is going to come in and, because there's a done right, it's got the potential to save everybody tons of time and build efficiency, but there's going to be too many bad apples. My concern with that is, it's going to be abused on the spam side of things.
I think that the key point there, which is why I'm going into voice, because the only upper hand that we have is we have one of, if not one of the largest solar sales training libraries in existence.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to be training our models off of that for proper communication.
Awesome.
But you're right. There is absolutely 100% going to be a ton of people straight up just hooking their voice dialer up to an LLM to OpenAI with absolutely zero communication, not very good niche understanding of their customer, and it's just going to be spammy, right? Yeah.
For sure.
And that's my question really quick. I know we're going a little over here, but I had just a question, like an objection for you guys to handle if I wanted to join a CRM, all right? Because it's kind of scary for a lot of people out there, right? So I'm going to throw it out there. This is a lot of kind of an elephant in the room. When I'm thinking about joining a CRM, one of the biggest worries I have is taking all my data and putting it into this software for another company to have and look at and to hold. How should that something reps should worry about? You don't have to take too long to answer, but I was just kind of curious how you answer that. Is the data safe, and how can you make sure that their data is safe? Ask Adam.
It's that checkbox that most of us, blow past, which is the terms and conditions, right? Right. Most of us don't even look at that. But if you're looking at a serious CRM, click on their terms and conditions. And if it looks like it was, if it leads you to something like, because I've clicked into, plenty of softwares where I'm like, okay, let me see where this is. And, if it leads you to some place that, because at the end of the day, that is the relationship when you're using a CRM, right? All of that data, you're uploading it and it's sharing it. And so what does their privacy policy look like? What is their, right? And, it might take a couple minutes to glance through that, right? And, it shouldn't be so crazy that a lawyer needs to, you need to send it to your lawyer and things like this, right? But, that is a valid concern, right? Of somebody down the street that picked up a high level account and put one workflow in there and, copied, somebody's terms and it's like you want to work with a reputable company, and so it is a valid concern. It is something that, is worth looking at. Like, click on the terms and conditions, click on their privacy policy, make sure it's got their actual company name on there. And things.
So Joe, I know how you feel, and here's what I've found.
There you go. That's what I was waiting
happened
for.
to me before. That's happened to me before as well. I had my data completely ripped off, and they retargeted it all, and went and took all my stuff. And I didn't know that, and I thought that it was ripped off. Actually, their terms and conditions, to Adam's point, were that they were going to share it in their retargeting. It was an ad company that I was using. Then they would take the data. They didn't market to them directly through the traditional stuff, but they got to retarget them, and they got to use all my data for that to dial in their audiences better for my competitors. I was like, so I was like, nuh-uh, that's not how this rolls. Now, if they told me that and I said, you know what, as long as I get the leads, I'm good with that, then that's different, right? So just ask. So that's the solution. That's what I found, Joe, is simply ask them. Besides, read through the stuff, make sure the terms back up what they tell you.
Yeah.
But simply just say, hey, do you use my data, one, for retargeting, and do you share it anywhere, or do I own it outright? And do you ever like upload it or share it or download it or do anything? And then they'll either get nervous or not. I mean, like, if you're going to ask them that, it's hard for them to do much with it, honestly, because
Mm-hmm.
they're going to suck at it. Just like, but overall, what I mean by that is, even if they download it at all, they don't know what to do with it. They're going to like spam them as well or do something. They don't have a relationship with your list, right? But they certainly can hurt your reputation. Is really what it's going to do. Is like, they're like, how in the hell did you sell my contact information as a consumer to some
Right.
company? So like that could happen, I think. Just be careful who you talk with. Make sure you have that in place. The ultimate answer, Joe, to your concern, there's no guarantee with any company that they won't do anything at all. Like ultimately, they could have all the terms and conditions. You can sign all the contracts. What's that term on Tommy Boy? Where, hey, I could get a good look up at a pork chop, something sticking up, whatever I can guarantee this, but like, what good's the guarantee? You're gonna have to trust. You're gonna have to trust whoever you go with, and understand that they're not gonna touch your stuff. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah.
I wish you
For
memorized
me,
that
this
line.
type of
That
stuff
would
is
have been
always
great.
about.
I know that would have been perfect, but I
Man.
botched it completely.
For me, this type of stuff is always about like motivation. Like I agree with you 100%, Brent. In the US, I feel like there's a heavy weight on contracts, but in growing up in Australia in business, dude, contracts and terms and conditions, like if you're relying on another company's contract or terms and conditions to say they're not going to do something, like I don't know, maybe because in the US, like legal proceedings are a lot more common, but I always just knew that it was complete and utter bullshit. If you
Mm-hmm.
wanted someone to not do something, you have to have leverage over them and you have to look at what are they incentivized to do. So, for example, in Sanivo, we are because we also do fulfillment, so we're incentivized for everyone to close deals, right? And so it's an interesting incentivization structure that I've set up because it seems it's very transparent for people. When they bring leads in, I want them to sell because if they sell, we also do good. So when someone brings their leads in, um, the person that I want to have your leads is you. I want you to sell on our platform. There's no other platform that we can go to, right? We're incentivized for you to give you resources for you to sell as much as possible. Why would we take your leads and then give them to somewhere else? We're more incentivized for you to keep them and sell and give you resources to sell them on Sanivo, right? Of course, our T's and C's are very straightforward. We don't own your data. We don't do anything. But at the end of the day, what are they incentivized to do, right? There's a few big players, a few of us probably know of them, who are renowned for taking leads,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know about CRM, but in the system design world, I won't name any, but there's one or two platforms, the most popular in the industry, and they're world renowned for taking leads and selling them. In fact, some of them have contacted us asking if we wanted to buy their leads. It was fucking wild. But yeah, it's what are they incentivized? What's the incentivization? And have a leverage over it. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's end this up.
Own it.
Let these guys go. But real quick, this is going to be like the beginning of 2024. So you want to end it with some of your goals for 2024, and then how can anybody reach out to you guys? Social media or websites, whatever else. Brent, you want to go first, my friend?
Goals for 2024. So CRMX, I have a very clear goal. I went to Satima Nali. It's spelled Gali. I just realized it's pronounced with an N. Nali. Satima Nali's big event here in Destin, or a big event, like really powerful event, I should say. It just reminded me to dream a little bigger and keep going and crush the goals as much as you can, but also to do it for a good purpose, do it for a good why I'm trying to do it. And so I've really narrowed that down. For us, it's going to be building a team that's a strong support team, because no amount of CRM is going to just solve all your problems without good support. And I don't mean like they're there for you and they will chat back and forth, because that's a standard. Like we all, I'm sure Josh and Adam believe in that too. But that's the main goal, is like, just we need to build up. Our customers really, really love us when we're there for them, right when they need us. Like they have a chat, we're there. It's not like, please submit your support ticket and we'll get back to you in the next 24 hours. That's not fun. Although that's standard, guys. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just, that's our goal, is to step that up. Okay. And then the other one is frankly we're opening up more than just solar. We're hitting more home services, and back to my roots, coaches and consultants. Like we're really helping a lot of coaching consultants and go that way. So our goal is to expand, and then of course give better service as we expand. I would say in general that's it, without going into detail. You can get in touch with us. You can get in touch with me just on the socials, the good old interwebs. You can just go to like Instagram or Facebook, Brent Attaway, and you'll see me there. You can just reach out to me. I reply to the DMs.
We'll also put links and stuff in the description for everybody.
Cool. Yeah, crmxpro.com.
Adam.
Don't miss out on that.
Yes. Well, thank you. crmxpro.com.
Awesome.
And Adam,
yeah, so
your turn. Tell us some of your goals and how people reach out to you.
Well, I think Brent hit on the key one. You know, the support is definitely a key, right? Our goals really, like, I've been in the trenches building and, you know, developing out this system for a while, and we've really been growing by referrals and things like this. And so, you know, my goal is to, you know, the big goal, the audacious one, is to help 1,000 companies by the end of the year. And that's a big number, but I think it's totally possible. You know, and there's a lot of different pathways to get there. And by helping those companies, we're going to help a lot, you know, like, and I would open this up to everybody on this call here, right? Competitors, not competitive, you know, like, if there's ways for us to collaborate, to put more glass up on the roof and to combine skill sets, we're in a huge industry. We got tons of opportunity in this industry. And the more that we can kind of combine skill sets and grow together, that's something I'm all about. And so, you know, I'm super excited you invited me on this call, Joe. You can go to rdtai.com is our website. We actually, I mean, right now it's been a different website, but we have going through this rebranding, and that is our website going forward. And so that will be live, I think, by the time this site goes live. And yeah, any questions, Perfect. If you have any thoughts, ideas, ways, like, hit me up on social media too. If there's ways for us to collaborate and put more glass up on the roof, I want to talk to you about it, you know, because that's what I think we all should be about. You know, my big, you know, life goal is to make a big enough dent in this global warming and damage that we've done, where, you know, we actually remove enough carbon from, you know, to take the carbon footprint part of human damage on this planet and take that out of the equation of, you know. So I want my kids to be able to go and explore and see all the amazing things that I've seen on this planet. And same thing with Brent's kids and everybody else. You know, we need to create a better future. So thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully everybody took a bunch of value from here, you know.
Yes, that was an amazing episode. Appreciate it. Adam Farver with RDT, Brent Attaway with CRMX. This is Josh and Joe with the Solar Pulse Podcast, the CRM edition, baby. We are out, guys. Peace.
Cheers.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.